There is a question that sounds absurd the moment you hear it. If trying harder at something makes you worse at it, not better, what should you actually do? This is not a paradox. It is precisely how humans work. But almost no one is taught to think about it this way. In the next 10 minutes, you'll understand exactly why and what to do instead. Mark Manson is a blogger, life coach, and essayist who spent over a decade writing about philosophy, psychology, and human behavior. In 2016, he took some of his most popular essays and compiled them into a single book built around one central insight: that modern culture has sold us a dangerous lie. We have been told that the answer to every problem is more motivation, more passion, more relentless effort. Be yourself. Follow your dreams. Never give up. It is all the same message wrapped in different language. But Manson noticed something profoundly different when he looked at the people who actually changed their lives, who actually found meaning and stability. They were not motivated by these slogans. They were motivated by the opposite. They were people who had learned to care strategically, to care less about the things that didn't matter, so they could care infinitely more about the things that did. Charles Bukowski was a poet and writer. For 3 decades, his work was rejected by nearly every magazine, publisher, and journal he submitted to. His life was chaos. He worked as a file clerk in a post office. He drank constantly. He gambled. He lived in failure. But he did one thing differently. He never tried to pretend he wasn't a failure. He never tried to become someone he wasn't. He simply accepted what he was, a loser, and wrote honestly about it anyway. At 50 years old, after 30 years of rejection, a small independent publisher took a chance on him. Bukowski finished his first novel in 3 weeks. He eventually published 6 novels and hundreds of poems, selling millions of copies. His tombstone reads, "Don't try." The point was not that he overcame impossible odds through determination. The point was that he succeeded because he stopped trying to be anything other than what he was. He was completely, unflinchingly honest about his failures, and that honesty became his genius. The first instinct when we fail is to try harder. We motivate ourselves with bigger goals, fiercer passion, greater discipline. We push ourselves relentlessly toward a vision of who we think we should be. But Bukowski suggests something radically different. Maybe the problem is not that you are not trying hard enough. Maybe the problem is that you are trying to be the wrong thing altogether. And the solution is not to try harder at being that thing. The solution is to stop trying and accept who you actually are. Write down one area of your life where you feel like you are failing, where you keep trying harder, but nothing changes. Ask yourself one question: am I trying to be something I am not? Write one sentence about what you would need to accept about yourself for this to stop mattering. Read it out loud. Most people think happiness is the absence of problems. If I could just reach that promotion, or that relationship, or that income level, then I would be happy. They spend their entire life chasing a state that does not exist. But Bukowski's success was not built on ever reaching a problem-free state. It was built on choosing better problems. He chose the problem of poverty and struggle as a writer, instead of the problem of meaninglessness as a file clerk. The first problem was his problem. He could own it, work with it, live inside it. The second problem was not his. It was just slow death. Everyone has problems. The question is not whether you have them. It is which ones you are willing to have. Some people choose the problem of disciplining themselves to write every morning. Some choose the problem of maintaining a difficult relationship. Some choose the problem of building a business with no guarantee of success. These are not the absence of struggle. These are the choice to struggle with something that matters to them. When you feel like something is not working in your life, pause before trying harder. Ask yourself one question. Is this the right problem for me? If the answer is no, stop solving it. If the answer is yes, then accept that the problem is permanent and work with it anyway. Identify one problem you have been trying to solve by trying harder. Ask yourself, is this a problem I actually want to have? Write your answer. If no, write one problem you would rather have instead and move your energy there. Manson spends an entire chapter demolishing the idea that you are special or exceptional. The culture tells us to be extraordinary, to stand out, to be unique. But the research is clear. Mediocrity is the statistical norm. Most people will be average at most things, and the attempt to be special at everything is what drives people to depression, anxiety, and a constant sense of inadequacy. But there is freedom in accepting that you are ordinary. Bukowski was not exceptional. He was rejected for 30 years. He lived in poverty and chaos. He had no advantages, no special talent that guaranteed him success. The only thing that was exceptional about him was that he accepted his ordinariness and wrote about it anyway. That acceptance became his advantage. The pressure to be special at all times creates a second, deeper problem. It creates shame. When you fail to be exceptional at something, you interpret it as a personal failure, a sign that something is fundamentally wrong with you. You feel broken. But if you accept upfront that you are ordinary at most things, then failure becomes data, not identity. It becomes information you can learn from. It becomes permission to move on. Write down 3 things you are not exceptional at. Write them down specifically. Not just, I'm not athletic, but I cannot run a 6-minute mile, or I am uncomfortable speaking in front of groups. For each one, write one sentence about how accepting this has freed you to focus on something else. Stop trying to be extraordinary at everything. Choose one thing you actually want to be good at, and accept that you will be ordinary at almost everything else. Write that one thing down. Read it when you doubt yourself. At the end of his book, Manson makes an argument that most self-help books never make. He says that the quality of your life is not determined by how much you eliminate suffering. It is determined by the quality of the problems you are willing to accept. Richer people do not have fewer problems than poorer people. They have more expensive problems. Happier people do not have fewer problems. They are simply more committed to them. They have chosen their suffering and made peace with it. When you choose a problem, you own it. When a problem is imposed on you, it owns you. This is the insight behind Bukowski's success and behind Manson's philosophy. Success does not come from trying. It comes from choosing what matters to you and then being willing to care deeply about that one thing. Everyone else's opinions fade. The superficial concerns disappear. You are left with one clear direction, and that clarity becomes your superpower. Choose your struggle, not because it is easy or pleasant, but because it is yours, and because the alternative, drifting through life, caring about everything the culture tells you to care about, is the slow death of a person who never chose anything at all. Read one sentence that captures what you actually want from your life. Not what would impress anyone, not what would be safe, what you actually want. Read it once every morning for the next 7 days. Notice what happens when you stop trying to want what you think you should want. If this resonated, the full book is worth your time. It's accessible and short, and every chapter will stick with you. Link to The Subtle Art on Audible is in the description below. First month completely free. And if you want the one-page PDF summary of the 4 ideas covered today, it's in my free newsletter. Link in the description. Subscribe if this helped. See you in the next one.